Steve, thanks. I appreciate that.
Terrific. Steve, we do have a quorum?
We do have a
Any
quorum.
public comment? Do we have any public online today?
Nobody contacted us to try and get on.
Of course, you didn't send them that new link either, so that's,
Yeah, we wouldn't let them on, actually. We would just answer their questions during the meeting. So
Good.
we don't want any problems.
very good. Everybody did get a copy of the minutes from our previous meeting. Are there any additions, corrections?
Move to accept.
Moved by-
Second.
is there a second?
I'll second it, Har.
Thank you, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Our minutes are approved. Stevie, let's run down our bills real quick, if you would.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Scranton Times Citizens Voice for our long-range plan meeting and our hearings. Luzerne County, 2 more invoices on the comp plan and long-range plan. And our SAPA invoice. So everything is basically normal. And we'll be wrapping up SAPA, so that will be going away. And the long-range plan's been adopted, so that should be finishing up. And the comp plan, we're hopefully going to get this done by April.
Good. Anybody have any questions on any of the bills? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make, a motion. Okay, so Cindy, I'll second it, Cindy.
Okay.
Cindy, John, second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you all. All right. Communications.
One application, or excuse me, one communication was just Valerie Kaplan sent 4 projects for environmental coordination. We gave the Fonzies for those. There's not a problem with that. And 1 letter for local share account for the Abington Area Recreation Board, and 1 for a DCNR C2 P2 grant. So nothing out of the ordinary there.
Good. Anybody have any questions on our communications? Let's move on to old business. Transportation planning, please.
Okay, we have a new procedure now with PennDOT, which has worked out rather well for us. Before we send the final invoice, we've been sending it to their financial people. They review it and make any comments, or we make any corrections that might need to be made to get it through the process a lot quicker. So we've undertaken that for the last 3 or 4 invoices, and they've turned around within like 30 days. Also, Tina and I have been attending, and we just got off one of the conference WebExes on environmental justice in Title VI with the new regulations that the feds have put out and the state. We're getting training. Actually, Will Clark from York County is running it. They did a major rewrite of their Title VI and EJ program. And they've been holding these seminars. We had 2 so far. There will be 3 more for the whole state for all the MPOs. So
Okay.
one of the questions that came up today was how we're going to incorporate the census data, since the census data is going to be probably a year behind in getting to us. But we have to do our tip updates starting late summer, early fall of this year. So that's a major thing that we're going to wait for Federal Highways to give us some guidance on. Also, we had our MPO meeting and our public hearing. So as I mentioned, we adopted the long-range plan. And along with that, there are a number of other items that need to be adopted: air quality, performance measures, and a whole bunch of other documents. We're also working with NEPA, Lehigh Valley Transit, Reading Area Transit, and their acronym is RATS. So that's and Lebanon County MPO for the freight plan. It's moving along. We had another meeting and a discussion with PennDOT on funding. PennDOT is willing to help us with supplemental funding. We just have to flesh out some more information for them. and see how we're going to divide up the funding, or excuse me, the participation. For our MPO for Lackawanna Luzerne County, we're probably looking at about 10 grand, somewhere in that range. And that will come out of our UPWP, our normal budget. So we're not going to really have to come up with any additional funding. If we tried to do a freight plan on our own, we'd probably be looking at $250,000.
Steve, is there a consultant assigned to this project or no?
That's one of the discussions we've been looking at, John, whether or not we're going to try and tag on to one of the open contracts that PennDOT has.
Okay,
Put it out to bid. Right now, we look probably going to put together an RFQ, RFP, and put it out on the road, because we're basically talking about the northeastern corner of the state. So it's going to be a rather large project.
okay,
And it's going to be data intensive.
very
So,
good. Thank you.
We haven't gotten to that point yet. Again, we're in discussions with PennDOT on whether or not we could tag on to one of their open contracts or go the RFP, RFQ route. And right now, the primary or the majority opinion is going RFQ, RFP.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Steve on transportation? Let's move on to Napa.
Okay, again, at the February meeting, we did the downtown bike study, was adopted by the MPO. And we'll be looking at utilizing that in the update of the tip, and also in putting together any programs or projects that come up through the PennDOT Connects Planning 360 process.
Good.
And we've been asked by the consultants with Luzerne County to present at the Pennsylvania Trails Symposium in the fall for the Commonwealth. And so we're going to look at that. The symposium is in September, so we're not sure how I'm going to handle it at this point, but we are going to participate in it.
Great.
Oh, just now the forester isn't there.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand that.
That wasn't us. I don't know where that came
It
from.
was, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Any questions on our bike study? Let's move on to SAPA. Mayor?
Okay, yep, like Cindy and I were talking, we have a virtual public forum scheduled for Tuesday, the 16th, from 4 to 5. We're going to do a presentation. Ted from DCED is going to start off, and then I'm going to talk about the county's involvement, and then Carolyn from EPD is going to kind of go through all the different, the transects and explain how we put the ordinance together. We are going to have a representative from all 9 municipalities on to make a statement, and then to take some general questions. Again, we're trying to make sure that we're aware that anything specific, they need to contact the local municipality for that. The public hearings are set for April and one in May. And I'm working on the legal ads right now. We'll have to get those in the paper next week for the 7 municipalities that are going to take advantage of the county paying for the advertising. Clark's Green's already done. Waverly's a month behind, so they're going to pay for their portion as well. So, you know, they're all online. We're in the process of reviewing them all, moving along. I'm happy. I'm happy.
Get it all wrapped up by the summer?
I hope we have it wrapped up on May 10th, because that'll be the last adoption. And then we'll submit our final reimbursement to DCED, and it should be done by June 30th.
How many years?
This portion, 2017.
Yeah, the whole project did 12 years.
2006.
Yeah,
Yeah, at least.
but it
By
is quite
the
an
time-
accomplishment.
By the time the last municipality adopts, we'll have to update the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
So, great job. Any questions on SAPA? If not, moving on. Rail service.
Okay, we did have a virtual
This
meeting.
project goes even longer than SAPA.
Yes.
I had black hair when we started.
Yeah,
Um,
you weren't even
We had a
born.
meeting on February 5th, again, virtual. We discussed some of the information that we were looking at to spend the remainder of the LSA funds. They have to be done by 2021. One of the ideas was to do a passenger study to see on what the ridership would be. But everyone's kind of agreed that right now is not a good time to do a ridership study because of the COVID epidemic. For instance, New Jersey Transit's ridership is down 75%. So we wouldn't get good numbers right now. There's other things that we could spend the money on, upgrading the engineering, doing a 30% or 60% engineering. So those discussions started, and then we were throwing a little bit of a curveball when Bob Morgan left the congressman's office. He's been one of the prime movers on the committee, and we're just waiting for John Blake to take over so that we can brief him on the project and get everything back in order.
Well, I think, and John Blake has been involved for a long time. We actually had all our meetings when we were in person at his office, and Larry West was involved. And I know that it's a project that, they're very, very interested in. So I don't think we're going to lose any steam on the project. I think we'll be able to pick up where we left off once we get going again.
Good. Any questions on rail service?
One of the good things or big things that came out of it, and I don't know if I mentioned this at last month's meeting, the New York delegation, including Senator Schumer, is now behind the project. They're looking at expanding service up to Albany and to Buffalo.
Wow. Good.
And
Wow.
really, to get to Albany, the only way feasible to do it is through Scranton.
Mm.
So we're looking at working with the New York delegation now, which also puts a little bit of a, not a delay, but a logistical thing, because we're going to be dealing with 3 states now.
Hmm.
But that is good news, because the Southern Tier delegation and both Schumer and I can't remember the woman's name, the senator from New York right now, they are supporting the project.
Steve, was there any money included in the stimulus package for,
Not in the
Northeast
stimulus
region?
package, but now that we've got the congressman on the appropriations committee, and we have Secretary Schumer, who's high ranking on the Democratic side in the Senate,
we're hopeful?
we've got a lot of support behind it. So this will be one of those projects that once the transportation stimulus bill gets passed, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later. I know it was President Biden's, one of his primary things. We can get moving. And again, this is a project that's almost basically shovel ready.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
The infrastructure bill will be forthcoming, and we'll find out how much support we really do get for this project.
Right,
Good.
One good thing about the infrastructure bill, it's going to be immense. It's going to be even bigger, I think, than the just this COVID bill that just passed. It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
That's if they can agree on it, John.
And it's going to be not only highways, bridges, but it's going to include railroads, infrastructure, water, everything. Like, it's going to have a power. It's going to have a big effect. It's going to be a boom.
Let's hope so.
Yepper.
Good.
Much needed.
Absolutely.
Hazard mitigation. Gee, we got approval.
We did. We got our approval letter from FEMA.
Hey, wow.
Approval of pending adoption is what it's called. So the resolution will be on for the next commissioners meeting, which is the first week in April. And
Great.
when they sign off, then we send out the letters to all the municipalities for them to adopt as well. So,
Good job.
Excellent.
and hopefully, we had an issue with the state trying to deposit our reimbursement. Apparently the bank closed the account because it was open for over a year with no deposit. Hopefully that was resolved. I haven't gotten any emails from that it didn't go through this time. So
Okay.
we're pretty much wrapping up.
I think the bank would give a notification. We are closing your account at such and such a day, a little notice,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they usually do. I'm surprised.
I thought that they should, but
Mhm.
Well, there's so many accounts that the county has that
Yeah.
probably just slipped through the cracks with
Yeah,
people
probably.
working from home and everything.
Yeah, and all of the notifications go to the treasurer's office, so we may not have seen it.
that's true.
Once the county adopts the hazard mitigation plan, you're going to send out a notice to all the communities and they have to adopt that. Do they have a certain time period?
I think it's 2 years, but hopefully they do it within a few months.
Yeah,
2 years?
I believe
Yeah.
so.
that's a long time.
I'm not going to tell them that.
Yeah, yeah, because you don't want to track it that long,
No.
gee.
Then we're going to be starting over with the next,
Exactly, yeah.
Well, tell them 2 months or something.
yeah.
Mary Liz, what are the updates? Every 5 years?
Every 5 years, right?
So if you give them two, they could.
Yeah.
you know,
That's what I mean. At that point, you're thinking about reapplying for the next
Yeah.
round.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yep.
Yeah,
give them 90 days and get it done.
yep.
Good, good. Okay, great job. Chesapeake, no activity, huh? Nobody wants to.
Just got an email yesterday from Jerry Stiles. I guess they're going to be having a steering committee meeting within the next 2 weeks, so.
Yeah,
And the
he
council-
actually reached out to me and asked if Mary Liz and I would be on the steering committee, kind of just to give some guidance and ensure that Lackawanna County is involved. I think it'll be a commitment of 1 to 2 meetings a month. So it's, it's something I think is doable. And then we still have some overall input.
Right, and Nicole Shapiro from the Environmental Sustainability, Barb Giovanoli's replacement, she's interested in this project too. So I just sent an email to Jerry telling him that she'd be willing to help out too, so.
Good.
So the conservation district's going to take the lead on this.
They
Yes,
are.
He did.
They've already hired a consultant, I believe, too.
Yeah, he
Great.
told me they hired the consultant, so that's good news. It's good.
Great. Any questions? Let's move moving. Lachlan Luzerne, regional comp plan.
Okay, we're moving along. We have to notify adjacent counties, local municipalities, the school districts on the 45-day comment period. So we're in the process of doing that. Once we get that 45-day comment period out of the way, we have to schedule a commissioner's public hearing and the meeting. So we're just working on that, on those logistics, but we're looking at sometime in April for adoption.
Good.
Excellent.
Good. Yeah, it was a good presentation last month. Terrific. Any questions? If not, let's move on to our development reviews. Got a couple this month.
Okay, page 8, just we're talking about COVID. Highlands at Archbold. I got a phone call in the beginning of January from the developer wanting to know why his plan wasn't on our December agenda. I said, we never received it. So they sent us a new plan. I got it in the beginning of February, and about 3 days or 4 days after I got the new plan, the old one showed up
Oh, jeez.
with a postmark of December 12th.
Yeah, the mail was screwed up.
It was
Oh, it
only
was
coming from
awful.
Montrose.
Yeah, it was coming from Montrose.
Oh, my gosh.
Well,
Wow.
and Vanling had actually sent us a packet of information for the hazard mitigation plan in mid-December, and we got it in mid-February.
Wow.
And they missed incorporating it into the plan
Wow.
because of that.
Ah,
Steve, are you still checking our box downstairs?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Good. I'm gonna jump off. It was good seeing everyone. If I can get back on, I'll be back.
Okay,
Amanda, we might be done. Bruce, you're gonna have to jump off too?
Chairman, I'm gonna have to jump off. I only have one request. Steve, keep growing your hair long. I want you to do an Edgar Winters.
Actually, Bruce, I was scheduled.
Down your back, and you'll be good.
scheduled for a haircut on,
He's just thrilled he still has hair. What are you talking about?
so I had to cancel the appointment.
Thank you, Bruce. Have a good
thanks,
one.
Bruce. See you, Bruce.
Thank you.
All right, Stephen, continue. Sorry.
Okay, page 12, Mary Liz, Covington Township zoning map.
Yeah, we got a request for an amendment to the Covington Township zoning map. It's right at the intersection of I-380 and 307 at that interchange. They're looking to rezone, and it's probably about 80 acres and about 2 parcels of land from, it's currently C2, portion of it is R2. They want to rezone it to M1 for a distribution center. The Covington Industrial Park, which is their current M1, is pretty much built out. There is maybe one vacant lot. Whether they're going to do this or not, I'm not sure yet. You know, it's questionable if it's spot zoning because it is a large parcel. And there
Yeah.
is a sawmill currently on site that has just shut down. So their argument is it's kind of a manufacturing, going to manufacturing as well. So, I mean, it's, you know, it could be spot zoning, but actually I think maybe not. And I just suggested a traffic impact study and an environmental study because they may need a light there coming in and out of the 307, getting on 380.
And this is the area where the salt shed was. The
Yes,
PennDOT
right
had the
across the
salt
street.
Contamination.
Wouldn't this, I mean, I guess under land development, that's where the traffic study would come in, Mary Liz, you know, like once there was a specific project and they applied for their HOP or
True.
whatever, you know,
Right.
and even the environmental would come in then as a site specific. You agree, Dave? Dave Johns? I would think that's when they would come in.
I agree with that, John. Yes.
And then if they
Like
just
once
gave them
they're-
some general information, because if they, you
No,
know,
you're right.
decide
right.
whether they wanted to go through with the zoning change or not.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
How many acres is it, Mary Liz?
It's about 84 or 85 total.
Yeah, that's not like where you're taking like an acre, you know, out of something.
Exactly.
And is it adjacent to another zone or is it separated?
No, it would be by itself. It would be adjacent to the C2 and the R2.
Okay,
And again, with the salt contamination in that area, it probably would never be developed as a residential zone.
correct.
Okay. Good.
Okay, and right after that, page 13, 14, Mary Liz Lanza Krieger.
Yeah, and then this was just a minor subdivision up in the Bell Mountain section of Dixon City. They're subdividing 14 acres into, actually it's 202 acre tract into 2 building lots. One's just under 5 acres and the other's just under 10 acres. Really nothing wrong with it, except they're using a private easement to access the lots, which is, according to their ordinance, they have to have frontage on the public street. There is water service there, and they didn't provide the certification letter. And that's really it, other than the review fee, but we're not making a big deal out of that.
You see a lot of these anymore coming up in the reviews where they're trying to use easements and access covenants and all that stuff to get in. And it really doesn't meet the gist of the ordinance, doesn't it, Mary Liz?
No, and actually this is an existing private driveway that kind of goes up to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
So, but they're creating a right of way or an easement, I believe is what it is.
Is this off the Bell Mountain area where you would turn? I think it's now a Meta Center. It used to be a McDonald's. Is that the road you're talking about?
Yes, you go up there and you go to the right, and then it goes further up then to the top
Gotcha.
of the mountain. Yep.
In the easement, do they spell out the maintenance responsibilities?
Nope.
No.
Oh, then that's
That's bad, yeah.
Yeah.
real bad.
So everybody just starts pointing, no, you're responsible for this, you're responsible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, who's gonna plow it? Who's gonna maintain it?
right.
Right, okay.
Unless it's in the deeds, which we didn't see, but nothing on the plan.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, continue.
Okay, right after that, 15 and 16, Lands of Hammett up in Scott Township. This plan did not have the name of, the address of the owner, the developer, the subdivider. So we really didn't have anybody to contact, which is always a big problem. I was able to find the engineer's address that was on the plan, so they're going to be the only ones that get a copy of this. But one of the things is they're going to again access the parcel from Ryan Lane, which is a private roadway that comes onto a PennDOT highway. And they didn't make any notation on whether or not this has an HOP. If it doesn't, they would need an HOP. And there's again, if not, they would need access to Layton Road because the parcel actually has a lot of frontage along Layton Road.
Huh.
So either way, they have to make notation of an HOP, but if they don't have one for Ryan Lane, then they're gonna need one for that, so.
Right.
Yep.
Whoever owns Ryan Lane is responsible for that. So if they're
Right.
not the owners, that could be an issue.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah,
And again, they didn't give me enough information on the plan to determine who's going to take care of it, how they're going to do the agreements. There was no easements or anything.
okay.
Okay, on page 25,
Steve,
26.
I'm surprised you actually gave them a conditional approval.
Well, I'm assuming that they have their own addresses and they know where they live, so
Yeah.
that's the one big thing. And the other thing is with the roadway, they're not gonna get an HOP. So if they don't get an HOP, they're not gonna be able to develop it.
Got it. Thanks.
25, 26 Dollar General on Cedar Avenue in Scranton. This came in as a lot consolidation plan and as a land development plan. It's the intersection of Birch and Cedar, where where Route 11 makes that like S loop turn there. It was the old fire station. I think that was engine 2. Then it became the tissue bank. They used that property for a while. So they're going to tear that building down and build a new Dollar General. Again, they didn't give us certification from the water company. Now, because they're tearing down one building and putting up another building with a different use, you got to assume that the water is going to be sufficient, but Act 247 requires it. They're looking to get a variance on parking spaces, and it'll have to go to the zoning hearing board, but they're providing 29. They need 30. Not a big deal on the variance, but actually they could rearrange it slightly to get that 30th spot in there, and they wouldn't have to go for a variance. One of the things is this fronts or has access to Neptune Place, but they're not using that access at all. So if they made some changes, they could access Neptune Place and get another parking spot there. I don't know if there's a problem with using that alley or not. Their landscaping plan, they didn't provide enough interior landscaping, again, because of the configuration of the lot. We're not really concerned about it, but what we did mention is the part of the building that's going to front on Cedar Avenue, they have some low plantings, but they have no windows, so it's going to be basically a blank wall. You can't really regulate aesthetics, but we are recommending, because it is a prime corner in the city, it's a very well-used business district, that they provide some kind of amenities, a window or something to make that look more of a storefront than a blank wall. And our review fee wasn't calculated correctly. They did submit part of it, but not the whole thing.
From the city standpoint, we received the plans in. I had a conversation with my engineer. I think you know who that is, Cindy. And I left them in work, and Ryan brought them home, and Chris we looked at them and he sent an email to the engineer basically saying that it's so incomplete that we're not even going to review it until we get a complete submission. There were no stormwater calcs, erosion sedimentation control plan. They had the note about an HOP on the drawing, but there was no confirmation that they have applied for an HOP. The stormwater was basically some kind of surface system that was draining into some rock drains, which in the city, I don't believe that's acceptable, but they're going to be involved with PAW on a stormwater connection, no matter what they do. So from our end, all that little stuff you see up in the left-hand corner is what we're looking at, and it's lacking right now. So we're not going to even entertain it until the submission is complete.
John, do you have any idea why they're not accessing Neptune Place?
Steve, like I said, we got the plans in. I yanked out the lot consolidation plan because that's what I review. I sent the other stuff up to my engineer, Chris, and he took a quick look at it, and it's so incomplete that it's not even worth starting to review at this point in time. You know what I mean? So we'll get into it, Steve, at a later date, you know?
Yeah, because their access is off of Birch Street, directly across from where the lower end of Cedar Avenue comes in. And
Now,
that's the
maybe
only access. and
If they
don't
had
have access
discussions,
if they're sitting
maybe
next to
that's
the
where
horse.
they wanted it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know, rather than someplace in the S turn. Because that would be, but whether that what's that gonna require? I don't know. So, I mean, the HLP's probably a tougher approval than getting through us, you know what I mean? Because a lot of this stuff is the same. You have to have the stormwater calculations approved, you know, if you're tying into anything, you know, so they've got an engineer's out of Sellings Grove, so I don't know how much familiar he's with the site, you know, so.
Okay.
But the one thing I noticed, there was no stormwater calcs or ENS calcs or anything, or an ENS plan or stormwater plan provided. There was details on the drawing, but they were very incomplete.
Okay. All right.
So it's got a ways to go, people.
yeah, even the subdivision map, if you looked at it, it's all convoluted with the property lines. It's a very strange piece of land.
I wasn't even gonna take a look at that until we got more into the review, because I'm not gonna, you know, approve a block consolidation plan and then have the project not go forward. So once they get up on the engineering, we'll take a look at that. I don't know why these guys, Steve, they go to two sheets. They make it like a you know, an existing map and then it's, to me, it's a waste of paper because you got to record the two sheets then. You have to record the whole land development plan. You should. But I don't know, guys make it harder on themselves than they should, you know?
And I didn't even mention in the review, because it's a little bit out of our purview, but the fire station may be a historic structure, so I don't know if there's going to be any requirements, extra requirements that the historic board might, you know, the city historic board might make them go through.
Mhm.
And you never know what's in those old buildings too. Is there asbestos? Is there anything in there that might have to be checked? But that's more of a building permit issue than a planning issue, you know?
Yeah,
John, did you ever deal with this firm before, Livick?
No,
Okay. All right.
the developers are local. If you see the developers list on the plans, they're local, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
They might own the property and they're working with somebody probably to put the dollar, is it a convenience store or Dollar General?
Dollar General.
Dollar General, yes, sir. You know, a lot of times these franchises have an engineer they work with, Steve. I mean, Harry, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, yep.
They might have the northeast or the eastern half of Pennsylvania, like say Livick, they might have it for Dollar General, you know?
You got it. Mhm.
But we've done Dollar Generals, I mean, our firm, so I mean, I'm not saying they are, but maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, we've done a number of Dollar Generals, and it's the first time we've seen this firm.
Okay.
One of my guys said that they did, one of the guys said they did see the name on some other plan somewhere, so, but anyway,
All right, let's continue.
I don't expect this one too soon.
Okay, finally, on page 27, 28, White Oak Estates and Roaring Brook. This originally came in as a 10-lot subdivision where there were going to be 7 building lots and 3 lots were going to be subdivided, would not be conforming, and would be added to the adjacent parcels. I had some questions on it because of the review fee and a couple other things. So I did contact the owner, and the owner actually happens to be the same as the firm that's developing the plan. And during our discussions, he said they were going to send in revised plans where the 3 lots that were being subdivided to be added to the adjacent parcels were not going to be subdivided that way, and he was going to subdivide as building lots. I did get the revised plan, but overall, we were recommending approval of the original plan. So the approval for the revised plan would continue with some of these comments actually going away because of the adjacent parcels.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things is Roaring Brook is one of those municipalities that requires plans to come directly from them to us. The developer stated to me that he had verbal authorization from the township to submit it. So that's the other thing with the conditional approval.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Any other reviews to highlight?
That's it.
Anyone have any questions on any of the reviews? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the reviews as submitted.
So moved.
Moved by
I'll
Rose,
second.
second by Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved. Is there any other business to come before the commission this month?
Harry, I just need a motion on the communications.
Up. Is there a motion?
I'll make
to-
it.
Thank you, John.
I'll move to approve the communications.
Second.
Thank you, David. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Approved. Thank you very much. Is there any other business?
I just want to say, if anybody wants that link for the SAPA meeting, if you're interested in, listening, just let me know and I'll send you the link, or I'll have Joe send it to you.
Why don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
We're gonna get the right, we're gonna get the right link this time, right?
I hope so. Cindy should already have hers. I sent them out.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Good.
Hey, Steve, I have a question. Have we received any inquiries regarding the proposed Jefferson Township development? When we were talking earlier about traffic impact studies, I'm reading that the increase in truck traffic in that area is going to be pretty dramatic.
We have not gotten anything here officially.
Mhm.
Actually, the last review I was just talking about, White Oak Acres, the person that is developing that lives right near that area, and he called me and asked, this is how the whole conversation started, if we had any information on it. I said, other than what's in the paper, we have not seen anything. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if Golf Club Road could handle the truck traffic. It would definitely have to be upgraded. I mean, that infrastructure is
Right.
totally inadequate. And then what would happen on 435 with traffic signals and things like that? It's
348.
not just, a developer coming in and saying, hey, I want to change the zoning. They've
Right.
got to base it on, like we just talked about, environmental reviews and things like that. They've got to come up with some explanations on why they want to do it.
Yeah.
Because Jefferson does have a comprehensive plan. So they would be making a change to the comprehensive plan, and they have to develop the reasons why.
Okay, thank you.
And then Rosemary, like if this became a land development submission, say the zoning went through, just say it does, well, then that's when you would see, under the HOP process, how that intersection would have to change and how many lanes would have to be, if any would have to be added to, what is it? What's the main, 438, 348?
48.
48.
Yeah, and then, and then how, whatever that little golf course road is, that would probably have to be widened and with turning lanes and everything else, like whatever would happen. So, that's where if it happens, then that's where you'll see the traffic is gonna require, how much improvement.
Mhm. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions?
I just wanted to let the board know that I received a call from the commissioner's office as far as reappointments on the board. And I guess you're up, Harry, Rosemary, and myself. So I did express that I wanted to continue. I enjoy being on the board. And also, I'm sure Rosemary and you do too. So I didn't know if you received any notification from them.
Gary, I'm glad you brought it up. I did receive a call yesterday.
Okay. Good.
And I was really pleasantly surprised because I don't think I've ever received a phone call.
It's a new wave now.
Harry, did you receive a call?
No.
You're right.
no, I did
Not
not.
yet. She's
No.
trying to track you down.
You know what? They didn't have your number, Harry, so you may want to contact them.
Geez, I'm in the phone book. I don't understand it.
Like who's phone books?
What's a phone book?
Yeah.
I still live off of landlines,
Well, they should have the information because we sent everything up to them, including phone numbers and addresses.
Sounds good. I'm glad everybody wants to stay on. Good.
But I have to say, I'm impressed that the commissioner is making the calls herself, not having someone else handle the inquiry.
Yeah. Nice. Good.
So I was impressed.
Terrific. Good.
And I know I was
I'm glad
talking to
hear it.
Brenda this morning. They are looking to fill that vacancy. They have a few
Good.
people from Carbondale and Felt Township that they're looking into.
Can we submit a recommendation or?
The one you submitted is the one they're looking at.
Oh,
one
great. Well,
before-
if he gets appointed, I think everyone will enjoy working with him. He's a true
Yeah, he's
professional.
our first choice.
Good.
I just want to say that, let everybody know that I'm kind of honored John Blake's office nominated me to be on the state planning board. The paperwork has all been sent to the governor's office, and I guess I need Senate confirmation of some sorts or nomination. So I haven't heard anything official yet, but I have been nominated.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Fantastic.
Thank
I
you.
don't think we've had anybody on the planning board from our region in,
Yeah, no,
20
Ellen
years.
Perry
Perry.
was on. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was in Luzerne
Years ago.
County. Yeah,
yeah, that's a while ago.
yeah. So we'll see if it's approved.
I mean,
Well,
I
there's
was,
a lot of positive energy.
Yeah.
Cindy, your news, the infrastructure discussion, the railroad,
Yeah. Things
what's
are
happening in
moving.
DC, all good,
Yep.
promising.
Absolutely.
I was very pleased too, like a few years ago, Senator Blank advanced my name for the Transportation Advisory Committee, which is recommending to the transportation, the council or whatever it is, the thing. So
Yeah.
he's trying to get people from the Northeast, like out
Yeah.
into the state. And it's been a wonderful experience for me.
Yeah,
To
well,
meet,
Good.
we meet four times a year, and it's
Yeah.
been virtual, but a lot of inside stuff, and it's really nice to be a part of it, and the more you participate, you make the Northeast known across the state.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Good.
Congratulations. That's a great honor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other good news?
I just have a few other things just to bring the board up to speed. The
Okay.
MPO has started the process of revising our bylaws. You remember, we've had that discussion for a number of years, Harry and John. We're looking at, right now, we have two.
Yep.
We have the coordinating committee, which is the governing body, and a technical committee. I call it the people that roll up their sleeves and do the work. But basically, both committees have the same members on them. So we're looking at a combination of those members and then updating the organizational structure in the bylaws, because the MPO was originally established in 1964 and nothing's been updated over the years.
Oh,
There's
wow.
been basically 4 amendments. So we're looking at doing a total rewrite on that. And yesterday, Brenda and I were involved with 2 virtual meetings, one on upgrades to Main Avenue. The assistant manager, Blakely Borough, Mr. Payon, brought up a question about funding because the section in Blakely by Lincoln Street and then again up in the Keystone Avenue, Main Street area is really in bad shape. We explained to him that all of the funding over the last 3 or 4 years, which comes out of what we call the K-Route funding with PennDOT, has been devoted for Boulevard Avenue and Main Street and Dundas and Main and Dixon. Originally, we were looking at that as being about a $1.2 million project. Because of some of the issues, it's getting closer to $1.5 million. And we get about $400,000 a year for the K-Route funding. So that's tied it up. But the next section that would be done would be Main Avenue from basically the anchor up to Decker's Bridge in Pettville and Blakely. But one of the issues, and probably don't realize it, that's the old Providence Turnpike. You dig down about 8 or 9 inches and you're on brick.
Ah, huh.
And so that's going to take a total rebuild.
Wow.
Digging everything out, right down, getting rid of the brick, putting in a sub base and building it back up. We're looking at over $2.5 million.
Whoa. Wow.
So that's the next one we're looking for. Representative Mullins was on the call and a couple other people. So hopefully we can get something either through the infrastructure bill or through Harrisburg. Also, right after that, we had another call with the Chamber of Commerce on extending Valley View Drive to get it to Archbald. Right now, it dead ends in Archbold, but the only access is through Jessup.
Mhm.
They're looking at three alternatives. One would be to punch the road through to Salem Road in Archbold. That would require crossing, oh geez, I forget the creek now. There's a creek in Archbold, I can't remember the name.
Yeah,
of it.
I know what you mean.
Senior moment, but that would probably be a $7 to $8 million bridge crossing that creek, not to mention all the environmental problems. Is when we did the extension of Valley View across Grass Yelling Creek and Jessup, we had a lot of environmental issues there. And so that would be similar. So that's the most expensive project. The other two alternatives, there's an existing underpass under US 6, but it's 8 inches too narrow for two-way traffic. So they're looking at using that and putting up a traffic signal and doing alternate traffic under that. Or the third alternative is to push a bridge underneath the highway to get two-way traffic. They just sent me the reports. They're about 200 pages. I just printed it out this morning, but we're going to take a look at that. So those are two more major projects for the infrastructure.
Well, interesting.
And the final issue, and you probably saw it in the paper this morning on the tolling of the bridges. We're not involved because the bridges are not in Lackawanna County. They would affect us both on the north and the south. With the bridge in Susquehanna County over the river there, over the Susquehanna River, and then also the two bridges in Luzerne County. And the two bridges in Luzerne County were still part of the MPO. The presentation from PennDOT, we attended 3 of them. One by the district, one by central office, and then one to inform the legislators about what was going to be proposed. The main issue is PennDOT is probably going to be underfunded this year by about $850 million.
I read that.
The 9 bridges
I'm sorry, who
are
is it?
somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.6 billion.
Yeah, I will call you Franny,
So
sorry.
that's what we're talking about there. And you saw in the paper today where the legislature is coming out against tolling the bridges. But they're not providing alternative revenue to fix them.
Mhm.
So those are the issues that are coming up, and just want to make everybody aware of them.
Interesting. Thanks, Stephen. Anybody have any questions? No public comments? How about entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Second, Rose? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Hey, thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your business.
Aye.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a
Thanks.
great
Have a good one.
Good one.